You're watching Diecast Breakdown with Chuck Ellis, David Johns, and Mark McHotwheel. So sit back, strap in, and hang on. The breakdown starts now.
Hey there folks, Chuck here, and welcome to Diecast Breakdown. I am so glad you're with us today. We have got a great show in store for you today. We're going to be talking to Mike Bowman at RDDC. And what is RDDC, you may ask?
It stands for Roger Dodger's Diecast Corner.
There you go. And we will be getting to that more in a little bit. But before we do that, I want to thank our patrons that make this show go. That would be Video Geek Productions, First and 64th Customs, Twice Diecast. Thank you, David. DrivenDreams.org, and Mr. Day himself, our honorary executive producer, who sends us money directly so he doesn't have to sign up for Patreon. But you could sign up for Patreon if you want. You can visit diecastmedianetwork.com or diecastbreakdown.com. They'll take you to our Patreon pages, or you can click the little join button. That will take you to the extra membership section where you can help keep the lights on over here at Diecast Media Network and for the Diecast Breakdown show. As I don't do this show alone, I am joined by my co-host, Mr. David Johns. How you doing, David?
I'm doing great, Chuck. Good to be here.
And playing the role of Mark McHotwheel tonight, we've got Derek of Honest Diecast. How you doing, Derek?
Doing well, Chuck. Howdy, folks.
Yeah. Did you stock up on extra zoom in so you could get the whole Mark McHotwheel experience?
I did. I couldn't think of any better way to pay tribute to Mark.
Gotta love those zoom ins. So,
Amen.
All right. Well, Derek is our special guest host tonight because this is a Derek suggested guest, and we're thrilled to have Mike on. So, Derek, before we get to Mike, tell us a little bit about RDDC and how you're connected with them.
So it's kind of a funny story with Mike and I. I actually followed Mike years ago on his YouTube channel. He does have a YouTube channel, RDDC. He kind of specialized in enlightening people on the Beamer world. And at one point I was thinking about buying an E90 M3, and I found his how-to on how to install, what is it, the throttle body actuators.
Yeah, throttle actuators. Yeah.
So that's how I found him. And then just in a weird stroke of luck, I found out that Mike actually was here in Arizona, and he was into diecast and selling diecast, and had the pleasure of meeting him a couple times when he was just kind of a self-sustained person, selling at diecast events on the weekend. And I watched him go from that to opening his own store, which is an absolutely work of art store. Just simple, clean, straight to the point, lots of premium diecast, which is a huge attraction because a lot of people have Hot Wheels, but not everybody has the latest and greatest hot premium stuff. And that's definitely what Mike specializes in. I see him probably once a week, once every other week, almost consistent.
Wow.
I think once a week.
I was going to say, that sounds like an expensive friendship.
For him.
Yeah. Profitable friendship on the other way.
Yeah, it cost me a little bit of money, but Mike is worth it. Just a great guy to work with, super fair prices, takes trade-ins, works with people, super down to earth, fun to talk to. I can keep going if you want, but Mike is a great guy.
All right. Well, before Mike's head gets too much bigger, we'll introduce him. Mike, thank you so much for being on the show. We're excited to get to know you a little bit better. All right. So RDDC, what was that again? And where did that come from?
A weird story. I was trying to make an alternative Facebook page, and I needed a technical name because I couldn't just put in like Bugs Bunny. So I tried a few names, and I was like, Roger Dodger. And it took it, and it worked. So I was like, okay, Roger Dodger's Diecast Corner. There it is. And over the time when I changed my YouTube from diecast to more BMW stuff, shortened it down to RDDC. And then even when I'm trying to make a sign for the store, Roger Dodger's Diecast Corner would be a mouthful. So that's where that came from, and it stuck with it. Yeah, you are paying by the letter, and it's outrageously expensive.
Yeah, I wondered if it was a connection to the famous Roger Dodger Hot Wheels car.
That's definitely where I got the name, but not one of my favorite castings, but it is where I think the name from. Keep it true to Hot Wheels, at least.
I have a weird love-hate relationship with the Roger Dodger as well, because on one hand, I love 73 Chargers, and on the other hand, I'm like, this barely looks like what it's supposed to be, and right. Everything about it is wrong, but I still kind of dig the stylish. Anyway, I like the Johnny Lightning 73 Charger a little bit better, even though it's also not true 64 scale. I'm hoping Auto World will do one eventually, but that's really cool. Did you start with big cars first or little cars? It sounds like you've done a little bit of both.
I started with little cars first. So most diecast guys have been into them their whole life. So ever since I was a little kid playing with Hot Wheels, and they just never left. So then once I started turning 16 or 15, 16, really started getting into real cars. And that's never left. So, and here I am with a store full of cars and a garage full of cars.
Derek alluded to a time when you were selling at shows and that kind of stuff. And I'm sure the store is amazing. So I would like to know kind of the evolution, because there's got to be a lot of us who we get too many cars. We need to move some. We sell some online. And then maybe we want to take the plunge and get a table at a show and start selling there. So what is the mindset that moves from, I'm tired of going around to shows every weekend, I'm going to get a brick and mortar store and I'm going to take it to the next level?
Well, we saw an opportunity, and the opportunity was this: when I was selling at local shows, I made sure that I sold the higher end diecast. I let all the older guys sell the $1 Hot Wheels, stuff like that. So I didn't carry any main lines, and still today I don't carry main lines in my store. So other than Super Treasure Hunts. And people kept coming up and saying, "Hey man, I have to work on Saturday. Man, I wish you were open on Friday. I wish you were open during the week." And my wife and I sat down and talked with it, and she said, "Why don't we give them an opportunity to buy from our store every day if they want to?" So we decided to check in the mall, and this is when it was ending a little bit, and we were still like, do you open up a store? Are they going to do something else? Is it going to get shut down? We just talked it over for about 2 months, kind of followed what the market was doing. And then we said, screw it, let's do it. And we opened it up and remodeled the whole store. And I've been to many diecast stores, and I wanted something that looked completely different. I wanted to look clean. I wanted to look upscale. I wanted to look like you're buying a $50 car, just like somebody buying an expensive something else in another store. So
yeah, like a showroom.
Yeah, like a showroom, exactly. So, and everybody thought it was going to be too white. I try to tell them that the product is going to offset the color, and sure enough, it did. And I think it looks great, and everybody compliments me on it, and I hope they enjoy it. So that's pretty much how that got going, and we're pretty happy with it. I think it makes good money, and now we are the only premier diecast store in the state. There are a few other people who sell diecast, but not like this.
So just going back onto the appearance of this store, that's one of the things, if you've never met Mike, if you've never been to a store, that's one of the things that's going to stand out the most, is the fact that it is all white, and everything that's offsetting that theme of the store is the diecast. So it's like that special thing in your brain that just kind of attracts you to, like, you just go in there and you look at people come in, you see kids, you see older people come in, and they're just in awe, and they're just going from here to here to here to here, just looking around. Some people, I usually spend about an hour at Mike's store, and I've seen people stay there before and after me. But the way that he has the store laid out, he has all of his Ferraris over here, all of his Porsches over here, all of his JDM stuff, and then he has all of his Skyline stuff. It's just very well put together. And the mini GTs, all color-coded.
Nice.
Yeah, everybody says something about that color coding. It's just easier to say, hey, it's in the blue section.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also kind of cool to have it by marquee, too, and not by manufacturer. That's an interesting choice. So instead of having like all the Innos over here and all the mini GTs over there.
Yeah, it's just a little easier when somebody asks me, "Hey, I want to see your Porsches." Okay, go to the Porsche section. Plenty of them over there.
I imagine a lot of collectors are more specifically interested in a type of car rather than a particular brand.
Back with more Diecast Breakdown after this word from our sponsors. Legendary Hollywood concept artist and designer Fireball Tim Lawrence has created 3 exclusive pieces of automotive art based on the 3 hosts of Diecast Breakdown. Get these and other brilliant designs printed on mugs and more at fireballtimgarage.art today. Here's this week's small channel shout out.
Mad Eye Miniatures.
If you have a favorite Diecast channel with less than 700 subscribers and you'd like to see them highlighted on a future episode, email us at diecastbreakdown@gmail.com. And now back to Diecast Breakdown.
Here's what I would think would be the biggest challenge for you. And you can correct me because I'm probably wrong. So, as I say on this show all the time, there has never been a better time to be a diecast collector, especially in 1/64 scale. How in the world do you keep up with all these releases from all of these new brands? I mean, sometimes we're getting 2 or 3 brands a quarter.
It's not really that hard. The distributors send me a list of all the cars, and I put what I want. Of course, the list is massive between M2, Auto World, Greenlight. Everybody's got a new release, and it's pretty organized of what's in pre-order and what's not. The big thing is, when is it going to arrive? That's really the big thing. Ordering and keeping track of everything is pretty easy. Trying to figure out when it's going to arrive, that's the tough part. I had some items that a year and a half I put in a pre-order, then one day it just shows up. All the people had already canceled their pre-orders.
Yep.
Already looked at me as like a bad person, and there's nothing that I can do about that. And that's why I don't do pre-orders anymore, just for that reason. It's they put the blame on you.
Sure.
And I got to put the blame on the manufacturers whenever they get to it. So, but it is cool that they do send me a list of all the latest and greatest that are coming out, and I try to stay on top of it. I'm looking at the distributor sites every single day. So if I don't, I'm going to miss something. And
absolutely.
In fact, one car I'm going to miss. Every customer is going to come in and want it. And which one that one was? The Auto World 2003 Silverado. I was sleeping, and I was like, I have some customers. I'll get to it tomorrow, and I missed it. And these things are going for 4 times more than what I can buy them for. I've had, I think yesterday alone, 10 customers came in and asked for that one truck. And I don't have it. So yeah, I try to keep track as good as possible, but you can't get them all sometimes.
No, I'd imagine that'd be a good motivator for the future to stay on it. Just as a quick follow-up, and I just want to throw it in at the last second. You don't have to name any names, but are there brands that have dedicated outlets and don't want every retailer to get them? Are there some brands that are a little bit more picky about that?
It's not so much the brand, it's so much the rep. So let me give you an example of an instance today. My invoice came in, and I'm talking with my distributor. It's a guy out of New York, but he gets all the China stuff, all the cool stuff like this, the ASAP Rocky Mercedes. This is going to be the hottest ticket car right now. As soon as I get online, I've only got 3. So I'm expecting these things to go for probably $50-$60 easily.
Yeah.
But the thing is that's not open to everybody. Some of them you need a business license. Some of them they want high volume. Anything low volume, they don't even want to deal with it. It's not worth their time. So that's not so much the brand. It's not the manufacturer. It's their representative, whether they want to deal with you or not.
I got you. Okay.
So if you get on their good side and you pay your invoices and stuff like that, they got no problem working with you. They got no problem even searching old stock that you can get again. That maybe it's been off the market for a year or so. That's already gone up in value and stuff like that. So it's pretty good to work with, some of them. But like I said, there's one distributor specifically tells me he does not deal with anybody who doesn't do $2,000 or less. So
per order. Wow.
That's the way it is. It's a money game. It's a money game, and you'll drop a lot of money being a diecast store. That's for sure.
That's what I can't get my head around, is how much you have to. It's not like you just buy somebody's collection and you sit it on a shelf and you sell it gradually over time. Man, you got to keep new stuff coming in all the time.
I need new stuff coming in every week. I'm starting to do Whatnot now, and I'm burning through so much inventory because every person on Whatnot is a potential customer. It's the most wildest app that you can think of, because you can list on eBay and it doesn't matter. These guys want their cars now. They want it in 10 seconds, 30 seconds. It doesn't matter. They get it now. And then, of course, I ship out within 24 hours. My Whatnot streams, I don't care if I sell 100 items, they're going to be shipped out the next day. That's 100% sure.
When we were in Atlanta, we met a bunch of people that really specialize in Whatnot stores, and people who say they do it like 8 hours a day sometimes, that they'll just go all day long on Whatnot. How do you see that affecting the diecast retail market, and is that something that you're concerned about, or do you see that as the future of the industry?
Not concerned about it at all. I'm not concerned about it at all because here's the thing. The best advice somebody gave me in opening up a store, let's open it up in a mall. Hands down, do not open it up in a strip mall. Open it up in a mall because you just get people who just walk by. They might not have wanted anything, but they see your store, they come in and they buy something. You'll never see these people ever in your life. And they're a dime a dozen. It's probably 90% of my customer base. It's just random people. So the whatnot people, they're diehard collectors. So I got my walk-ins and I got my diehard collectors. Neither one of them like clash with each other. It's all money in my pocket is the way I look at it.
What's kind of the reaction when they come in and actually get a good look at one of these cars?
So usually when people walk by, these are some of the things that I hear, right? The mothers with the kids, the small kids that are 5 years old, you'll hear them say, every car there's $1,000. We're not going in there. I've got cars for kids too. Not everything's $1,000. I have people say, oh, I need to get a present for my dad. Oh, hey, I wonder if they got my first car. So these people are just walking in, with these intentions. Then they come in and they're like, wow, you got a lot of Hot Wheels in here. And then they start walking by, they're like, wait a minute, these are Hot Wheels. What is all this stuff? And they start looking at it, and the more they look, the more expensive it gets. So they kind of stick around to a certain area. Some people say, hey, I got $20. I'm looking for a 1980 Chevy El Camino. Hey, I need a Nissan Skyline R34. That's probably the number one thing I hear. If I have to hear Brian's Skyline from Fast and Furious, it's the number one requested car in the store. The number one. I mean, every child loves Fast and Furious. It's my hottest seller. So I can't sit there and say it's not. They're hot sellers, and they continue to be hot sellers. So
listen to that, people that are complaining about there being too much Fast and Furious. But they keep making them because people are buying them.
That's correct. So I did read a little thing of why they keep making the Fast and Furious cars, and it made sense. It's because the younger generation that's just getting into collecting, they can't afford the original Fast set. So remake the car so they can buy it for $5, $6, $7 or whatever it is now. So, and I could completely respect that because you're right. There's 15-year-old kids who come in here. They can't afford a $200 set. They just can't, but they can afford a $6 car. I don't mind Mattel doing it when I think about it like that, but that last pop culture set that they made with the Barbie combi and the Thundercat one, that was like 4 cars were exactly the same as they just made. And none of those are really a hot seller either. So I don't know. It's hit and miss, but yeah, Fast and Furious, I can't complain one bit. So Need for Speed too. It's the same deal.
What have been some of the coolest trends in our hobby, especially in the premium diecast arena that you see? Like, is it collaborations? Is it
Liberty Walking Panda wide body? Anything wide body? Yep, wide body. Everybody wants wide body. Yes, it makes everything look cool. I mean, you could put it on a freaking. I bet you could put it on a Chevy Chevette, a wide body kit, and it will look good. I will put my life on it. So I mean, they're just cool. Everything's cool about the wide body kits. They're just, I don't know, they're just cool. I like it myself. So Liberty Walking Panda definitely sealing the deal.
What are your thoughts on some of the ones that come with like an engine or come with some accessories like some figures, or are you big on accessories?
Here's one right here. This is the Land Evo from Fast and Speed, and it's got the little character and it's got Brian in there. And they love the characters. Anything Fast and Furious, I need to have the characters. They request the characters. So anything Supreme, they got these little bears in some of the China stuff. They love these bears. Absolutely go crazy for these little tiny bears. They look like bear bricks, like this. Only they're little. They're like this big. And they just love these bears. I don't know what it is. But some of the cars come with them. Some of the cars come with figures, oil cans. Some of the off-road vehicles come with like tents and canoes, and they love it. They love it. Diorama right now, it's just going through the roof. I mean, it's one of my hottest selling products are dioramas. So I sell a lot of the G fans. I ordered 10 different G fans, 5 different one of each one a week ago, and I've had 3 left. So that's how fast that they go. Turbo pads from Spain. I bought 80 of them. They were gone in 2 weeks, something like that.
Good night. Okay.
Yeah. People love that stuff. They buy it for their kids. So the kids like the play mats. They don't have to play outside in the dirt. They use the little play mats like Lamley.
Mike was responsible for popping my diorama cherry. I purchased my first one, which was one of the more art stackables. Those things are fantastic, and
Love
yeah,
those.
Mike gets those all the time. Which one? I picked up the pink pig one first.
I like Magic City has some really cool dioramas. I like some of their stuff too.
They do. Magic City has got some really, really nice ones. And here's the thing about Magic City is they don't have distribution. You have to get them straight from Magic City, and they want you to buy a bunch of them. Yep, a bunch of them, and their shipping is outrageously expensive. So it's almost, just to give you a little price comparison. I mean, I don't want to spill the beans on how much stuff costs. I'll just give you an example. If a G-Fans one, say for example, might cost $35, a Magic City might cost $60 for the same one. So that's why I don't carry. Yeah, they're not cheap, but they look nice, man. I would have to say that they're probably the Rolls Royce of dioramas.
I'm a sucker for the dioramas, however you want to call it. I know what Mark calls it. We won't call it that here, but I love the idea of finding ways to display your cars in a realistic scene, finding a way to place them in a setting. And so I have several shelves that have little garage scenes or little outdoor scenes to show off my stuff. And I'm actually working on a couple of kits coming up here. We actually, another guest on our show, Wetwork Customs, right up here. He makes some really cool, he does custom stuff, which it's wild. Like you can come to him and say, here's a picture, here's some pictures of my house. Make my house in 1/64 scale, and he'll do it. It's insane. Wow. Like he'll make your dream garage. He builds these things to spec. He has a couple of kits that are pre-made, but it's really cool. Like, cause growing up, I always liked that sort of thing. I'd make little buildings and houses out of cardboard boxes and stuff. And it's always been so hard to find buildings and display and accessories in 1/64 scale. And all of a sudden, like within the last 3-4 years, it's just like they're everywhere now. And it's so cool that there's all this extra accessory stuff. And you got people like Tarmac Works coming out with these like little roof kits and stuff that you can put on. And they got the little tents and display things and
RWB kits and stuff like that for the cars.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and with that in mind, what are the brands that you really think are nailing it? Because there's so many really good premiums now. Is there one that really kind of stands out to you?
Time Micro is killing it right now. Hands down, Time Micro. I would say Inno and Tarmac, but Time Micro just making a superior product, and they have opening hoods and sometimes moving parts and stuff like that. And another brand is GCD. Hands down, GCD is. Absolutely. So let me give you an example. Micro Turbo has got these really nice gull wing transports, and I can show you those if you want. But let me show you those real quick. So this is a Micro Turbo Pink Pegasus gull wing type car. This is all plastic. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. It looks great, but it's plastic. This part is metal, but all this is plastic. Everybody butchers the mirrors off it and everything else. It's all right, but it's not for kids. Now, this is GCD. This is heavy. Weighs about 1.5 pounds. It's full metal, turning wheels, suspension in the back. I mean, it's got these little things that come down. So this comes out like this. It's got like that. So the quality of these things is GCD and Time Micro, hands down. Two best upcoming brands right now. Even M&J Toys, who's the biggest distributor for pretty much everybody in the United States, they even started carrying GCD. So. And here's some other ones, like the new 4Runner.
That's good to know.
The new 4Runner is GCD also. So it's going to have suspension, turning wheels, everything. Pretty cool.
Craziness. Speaking of Mini Station, I think we brought up Mini Station, but here's one that I picked up directly from Mike. Mike, I remember this one.
Yep.
I've been hearing a lot of buzz about Mini Station.
Yeah, this one came with a figure, good. But I have it displayed. Yeah, Mini Station. I think Mini Station is coming up. Just the quality, everything's lensed, so it's David approved, and just great quality stuff. It has your head on a swivel to a certain extent. You have to keep watching out, see who's coming out with what, see new brands coming out. Everybody's taking advantage. Everybody's getting in the market.
I'll say one more. Where's it at? Hold on a second. I'll say this. Kaido House is completely dominating right now. I mean, their cars are just absolutely amazing. I mean, between the Jade R34, these are the latest ones that just came out. Laser cut, titanium look on the bottom. These sell out. I mean, I think I've sold out of almost all these already. I just got them the other day. Same thing with these. I'm not quite sure. So already sold out of the trucks. Already sold out of the R33s. It just, I can't keep them in stock. It's crazy.
Don't touch that dial. Diecast Breakdown will be right back after these messages. Diecast Breakdown is produced in partnership with Twice Diecast and Driven Dreams Org on YouTube. Check out their channels in the video description and subscribe for more epic Diecast content. Diecast Breakdown would like to thank Diecast Heroes Magazine for supporting this program. Diecast Heroes Magazine is the premier digital and print resource just for diecast customizers. Visit diecastheroes.com and see what the best customizers in the world are up to.
Hey, this is Larry Wood.
This is Derek from Honest Diecast.
Hey, this is Chad Reed from Round 2.
This is Mike from Gas Labs.
The SRT Joe Vita Show.
This is Champion DJ K.
This is Mad Vision here.
This is Diecast Dude.
And you're watching Diecast Breakdown.
And now, the thrilling conclusion of this week's episode of Diecast Breakdown.
What's been your experience when you get an order of Kaido House? First off, how many is typically an order, and maybe how many chases do you find when you get your order?
I pull the chase immediately. I know where it's at. So I have a customer that buys all my chases pre ahead of time. So I pull them out. If I buy more than one case, then that chase is up for grabs. Sometimes I'll do a case break and do the top 8. Let people gamble and see if they get it or not. So. But yeah,
so there's typically one in every case then?
There's one in every case. Correct.
Okay. Yep. Good to know.
It's usually upper right-hand corner or bottom left-hand corner.
Hey, that's why you watch this show, viewers. That's why you got to tune in. That kind of insider information right there.
Yeah. Number 2 or number 3. I'm just letting you know right now. It won't be any other one. So I mean, it makes it easier for us, especially if we want to just pull the chase and sell the chase separate.
So, Mike, what is the biggest surprise that you found? Was there something unexpected that you found with, because I mean, I imagine you've got a lot of our viewers' dream job of being surrounded by diecast cars all day. What was the biggest surprise for you when you dove into this line of work full time?
Probably opening the stores is how many customers were coming in, especially in the first year. How many customers were appreciative that there's a store that they can actually go to. A lot of people come in here. I remember KB Toys. They're in the mall, and I don't know what happened to them, but it's cool that we got a whole store dedicated to cars. Like, a lot of people can't believe that there's actually this many brands that make cars now. So, and I carry a bunch of 1/18th. I got a 1/12 scale over there. It's super, super cool. A Ford GT. I mean, it's huge. It's 1/18th, 1/43rd, 1/64, definitely the forte, 1/24th scale for the Fast and Furious and stuff like that, 1/32nd, but mostly 1/64 here. Everybody wants to 1/60.
I like that. As kids, I took all my money and I preferred pocket cars over Hot Wheels back in KB. And you're right, to walk into a mall and find your store by surprise, that would be a pretty big deal for me. I would love that.
Yeah. I see a lot of people walk by and they look and then they do a double take. They're like, is that a Hot Wheels store? Oh, hold on. We got to go in there. So, and once I rope them in, they're done. They're done. Once they find a store, I'm in this little corner over here, but I have an elevator in front of me and I have an escalator. So as soon as they come up, they can see my sign. So it does help out a little bit. And I just tell everybody I'm in an affordable corner because malls are expensive. So don't choose a spot beside Victoria's Secret. Okay. It's going to cost you $20,000 a month. You're not going to make that money back.
Yeah, that's a good point, because a lot of people are saying the malls are dying and this is not a place to be, but you've found a way to make it thrive for you, in that it is something where you're right. A lot of people wouldn't get on Google and go diecast store near me because they don't think something like that exists. They think you've got Walmart and Target and that's about it. Or you buy everything online. And it's funny. I love seeing shops like yours pop up. I did a video a while back of a shop here in Orlando area that a guy has taken. He's kind of like you. He has a big car shop he sells speed parts, and it's just like you walk in the front door and it's all speed parts. But if you go up to the guy and you say, "Hey, I'd like to see the diecast," they lead you to a back room and you open it up and it's just like chock full of this stuff. And he sells a lot of the same stuff you do. And it is just like really cool that the community has gotten passionate enough that guys who are not even directly doing this as their full-time profession are finding ways to work it into their main business. One of my best friends, JC, has an auto parts store. He's started selling diecast out of it as well. And it's just a really interesting thing because I think a lot of people outside of the hobby don't really realize how active and thriving it is. So it's really kind of cool to see it gathering this kind of organic momentum, both from the manufacturers who are making better and better stuff, but also the folks like you who are turning a passion into a profession. And so with that in mind, like, thinking of the events that you go to, like, how many events do you do outside of just selling from your brick and mortar location?
I try not to do any for these days. Other than Diecast SuperCon, really none. But it's a lot of work. One of the reasons why we opened up the store is so we didn't have to tote around crates and stuff like that. I didn't have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning and get out of bed and do all this other stuff. So now it's a little easier. I bring a couple cars in here to restock, and I keep this chair nice and warm for my older years.
Mike, is there any world where there is a second location? And if so, when will you be open in Birmingham, Alabama?
So we've been tossing around this idea, and I'll say the idea. We're going to be moving here, so we're actively looking for somebody to take over the lease for this one, so we could possibly open up a second one 2 hours north here in Arizona. A little bit cooler for us. And so that's going to be the next stop. But we're still not sold yet. Not 1,000% sure. We keep yes and then no, then yes and no. It's all expenses. And in the end, it really does cost a lot of money to operate and run a diecast store. Employee wages are really, really expensive these days. So we were just going over the wages today, and just one full-time employee would be $80,000 a year. So that's a lot of money. So if you've got to figure, if I'm paying an employee $80,000, I better be making.
Yeah, they better be selling.
So, yep, I better be selling. I need to hustle, sell these toy cars. Toy car salesman, right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, Mike, I think I know the answer to this one, but do you collect? And if you do, what do you collect?
All right, Pete, you know the answer to this one. I'm a BMW guy. It's what I drive in real life, and it's what I collect. And I'll say this: I have the self-proclaimed rarest BMW Hot Wheels collection in the world. So behind me right there, you see it between the two robots right there? That is number 10001 BMW E30 M3 RLC. Here, let's take a look at it.
Wow.
So I paid really good money for this. As I'm being a BMW collector, this is like a dream of mine to come true, because you see people who pull number ones, and I'm just like, man, I really wish I could have a number one in my collection. And this kid pulled it. And I know it's backwards, but you can see it right there. 00001. There's BMW E30 M3. So, and I just posted 2 videos on my IG where I'm starting to do show off or showcase a little bit of my BMW collection, some of the older rare stuff, because I have stuff from Italy, Spain, Japan, France, Germany, and the United States, of course, too. I have tons of prototypes. I have the resin castings that they make the cars with and stuff like that, all BMWs. So, but let me explain the evolution of that real quick, because there's a trend that I see, and that trend is the same trend that I evolved into. I started collecting cars that I liked. Well, I liked a lot of cars, unfortunately. So your collection just gets massive. So I decided, well, let me just start collecting cars that I'm passionate about. Now, I like a lot of cars, but I'm passionate about. Well, that got too big too. So I'm passionate about a lot of cars. So at the end, I decided, let's just focus on only BMWs. It's what I drive in real life. It's what I'm truly, truly passionate about. So now I'm up to date on almost all the BMWs. There's still a few that I'm missing that are just super rare. That's taken me 20 years to try to find just one car. So, but it's pretty cool. I like it. So now when a new one comes out, like right now, the new one is the 328 wagon. the main line.
Yeah.
That's the new one that I'm looking for right there. So I have every other one. So even that BMW collection's getting pretty big too. So, and even over here, you can see it just a little bit. A lot of my Lucy's. So all color coded.
Look at that.
So, because I like to.
That's how you keep it fresh and you keep that hunter mentality. When you start diving down and really drilling down and going after one certain thing, kind of like Derek. Derek he could care less about a Saturn diecast, which I would love to have, but he's all about those Porsches. He knows everyone that's out there. He hunts them. And I think that's a good lesson because we've talked about this before in the past, and Chuck will echo these thoughts, I'm sure. A new collector can be overwhelmed by our hobby. There's every type of car out there. There's billions of castings. So collect what you like. And then when you get good at that, like Mike did, then you start putting stuff in your crosshairs and you really target it down. So great lesson if you're watching this.
How I started getting all the product for the store was offloading my first collection. That's how it all started. So and then it evolved from there.
As somebody who buys and sells a lot of used products as well as new stuff, what is your advice for people who are saying, hey, I've got a lot of stuff in my collection. Some of it's pretty valuable. I'm thinking about letting some of it go. What would your advice be to someone who would come to your store and then try to offload it?
So I get about 3 to 4 calls or emails a day. People want to sell their collection. I can't buy everything, so just not everything's collectible. So, and I noticed a lot of people who are doing that are offloading, don't take this the wrong way, junk, stuff they can't sell.
Trash.
So, and trash. And one of the main things that they're trying to offload are NASCAR diecast. That is the number one thing that I hear. These are 25, 30-year-old collectors where NASCAR was hot. It was super hot. And now it's not hot anymore. It's so not hot that I don't think I can give NASCAR away. I try to tell them when they call, send me an email, show me the money cars that are in your collection. If I can make money from the money cars, the cars that are less of, it's not a really big concern to me. So that's kind of how I work it here at the store. I do get a little bit better deal than, say, just somebody Joe Smo buying a collection, from somebody else off the street. So I have a kind of a strict policy. It's 35% less the last one sold. So if it's the last one sold for $100, I'm going to give you 65. I got to make money. So I think that's fair. So I do get my hands on some pretty cool stuff for cheap.
I think that's a very reasonable markup considering, a lot of the places I know that buy and sell stuff, they'll be like, oh, you want to, we'll sell DVDs for $10, but we'll give you 50 cents for yours. I think a very fair buyback price for somebody who's intending to flip stuff. In Atlanta, I was practically giving cars away, trying to get people to, I was offloading a lot of my junk. And it was funny. A lot of people from other countries were very interested in my junk collections to take home. So I was like, all right, sure, fine. Quarter a car, 10 cents a car, take this out, get it off my hands, please. But I think that's something that a lot of people have to realize too with these collections. Especially if you see them as true investments, it may be worth this much on paper, but if you're going to sell it, that's an entirely different number, especially if you're trying to sell to somebody who's intending to sell it again. So I think managing expectations is a very important thing that people need to keep in mind with their collection. And remember that I forget where I heard it, but it's not about the money. It's about something. Cars? Was it about the cars?
I'm at a loss. I don't know who you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I don't know where I heard that before. But yeah, I think it's funny that time after time we ask people, what's your advice for collecting? And it's collect what you like. And a lot of people joke about how, it's like, get them all, get as many as you can and be strategic. That's the thing. It's very easy. Like I just offloaded probably close to 2,000 cars, and my collection was barely dented because for a long time I was in the gather. Okay, I could get this many for this cheap. Okay, well, we'll get them. I'll do customs with them. I'll do this. I'll do that. And it really quickly gets out of hand. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the premiums is that they're expensive enough that they make you pause and go, is this something I really want? Is this something that I will appreciate, that I'm going to put on the shelf and be proud of, as opposed to sitting in a jammer case a stack of other jammer cases. And so I think that's kind of an interesting thing that's evolving with this hobby, is that we're going from the jammer case fad to more the prestige fad of I'm going to have a smaller collection, but it's going to be really nice. It's going to be these Liberty Walk F40s, and it's going to be the Bugattis with the moving wings and all that stuff. So I'm going to pay $50-$60 a car instead of buying 10 premium Hot Wheels. Nothing against the Hot Wheels. If you want the Hot Wheels, that's fine. The big thing that David and I noticed when we went to this convention is there are two very different hobbies out there. There are Hot Wheels collectors and there are diecast collectors, and there is some overlap, but there are people that it is definitely not the same without the flame, and they do not care that there are better cars out there for less money. It is all about that particular brand, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to collect, that's fine. If you see diecast as an investment, that's fine. It's just know what you want to do with the hobby, and then let other people enjoy it too. There's going to be people that take their fancy Hot Wheels car from the dinner at the convention and immediately sell it for $200. And there's other people that there was one person that gave it to their 8-year-old daughter, and she ripped it open right there at the dinner table and started playing with it on the table. And that's great. That's two very, very correct ways to enjoy a toy car. There's nothing wrong with either one of those ways to do it. So it's just let people enjoy what they're doing and do what they like.
Not me, Chuck. This is what I'm going for. Mike, tell the guy who's never plunked down more than $5 for anything nicer than a Hot Wheels Premium. Tell them quickly, what are some of the differences and the benefits you get when you dip your toe in this pool, when you start looking at these premium brand?
One word: realism.
There you go.
You don't get any better than that. I mean, the car is just real. It's based off a real car, real wheels, or real paint. But it's the realism. That's what people want. They want the real looking cars. They don't want, I mean, even with Hot Wheels, they're like, those aren't the right wheels. It's not the right paint.
Yep.
They don't want it. They rather spend the money and $20 extra, $30 extra to get that nice livery that they see the car that's going down the road. So that's what they want. And I see it all the time where people are coming in, they're offloading their Hot Wheels premiums and they're trying to get in for the better stuff. And those are usually the older guys, the seasoned collectors. Yep, Derek's one of them. And I see it all the time, and I kind of stayed true to my Hot Wheels collection for my BMWs for value.
Sure.
It's easier to keep track of. If I keep track of 80, 90 different brands of diecast, my BMW collection would just be too big. So I don't really venture around. I've got a few cars that are off brands, but mine is basically Hot Wheels, even though I'm telling people to buy higher scale ones. But, you know, I got the higher scale Hot Wheels. I got the number one. I got the Toy Fair. I got the Anti-Social Social. I got some super, super rare ones where my Hot Wheels collection is probably over $15,000 with the cars. So. But I do this. I tell people always try to buy two. Open one up, enjoy it, put one away. That's the proper way to do it. I do have parents that come in and they're 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 10-year-old is just getting into diecast. And what do we do? Which ones are the ones to get? And so I point them out the premiums and I tell them the best thing to, well, he can't enjoy it. He's gonna want to rip it open. Okay, buy two. Put one away for his
pretty savvy business.
So, but I always do preach in my store responsible spending. It's very, very important. The last thing I want somebody to do is spend their rent money in my store and they don't ever come back in my store again. So I do preach responsible spending. It gets expensive in here super, super fast.
So could I ask one quick one for the person that is ready to take it to the next level? Give them one brand that is not, we're not jumping up to make a limited vintage or anything like that. Give them a new brand they haven't heard of that will give them a taste of a premium diecast.
Which brand?
Yeah, just maybe the next brand up the tree.
Mini GT.
There you go. Yeah.
Hands down, Mini GT. If Mini GTs were in acrylics, they would be just as good as the acrylics. No different.
Agreed.
So, and they roll. You can take them apart by a screwdriver. So lots of benefits. Mini GTs are some of my top sellers in here. So I
Mhm.
nothing bad I could say about Mini GT. Well, maybe the rubber mirrors, but it's better. I don't know. Rubber mirror things kind of gets me, but still the cars are really cool. Nice liveries, nice paint, and the parent company's True Scale Miniatures. So, and I
Yep.
have a couple of the 143rd True Scale Miniatures. They're outrageously expensive. So I think they take nice and pride and care and make sure it's the correct scale.
Yeah,
good.
Glenn is very particular about making them as realistic as possible.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
And he's got that James Bond set.
Oh yeah. I saw that. I don't know if I ordered any just because it's hit and miss on James Bond. You get some people come in here. I want every James Bond car you got. Okay, and then you got people. Then other times it would just sit there for ages, years. So, but it's cool though. It's cool. People like movie cars. Movie cars are super popular.
Mm-hmm. It's a touchstone. I just bought that Marty McFly, not technically the Toyota from Back to the Future set. That was a really cool thing that just came out as we're recording this from Diecast Talk, and just a really wild setup. So and again, I'm not really a Toyota truck guy, but I love that movie, and that truck was very appealing to me as a kid and still is. I think it would be a very cool truck to have. But so it was really cool that they would have it with, even down to having the little sticker with the another custom from Statler Toyota on the side. I thought that was just a really nice touch. And yeah, so I get that. I have a lot of entertainment cars in my collection. And again, it's just what people like and what they're into in a particular season. I do think it's interesting. We talked briefly about this, the weird fall from grace that NASCAR had, and that you're right. I've gone into the vintage toy shops now near me that sell diecast, and you can get the really nice 1/64 scale stock cars for $1 each. And I'll just buy them up because I like the wheels and tires, and I'll put them on customs because, it's $1 for rubber tires. You can't get a better deal than that. And you're getting the entire car. So, but then they just go in a pile, and I drill them apart and take the wheels when I build a demolition derby car or a vintage stock racer. Mike, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. Before we wrap things up, is there any final thoughts that you have for people that you'd like to share with them when it comes to shopping for diecast in person or visiting a shop like yours?
Bring your wallet and just be passionate about what you collect is all I could say. It's not cheap. No collectible hobby is cheap. It could be a $1 car. You're not buying one. You're probably buying 10 or 20 at a time. So it's not cheap. So spend your money wisely and collect what you're passionate about. Not just what you like, not what everybody else is collecting, not what's valuable, what you're passionate about. Like me, I don't care about an R34 Skyline. I don't care about a Honda Civic. It means nothing to me. Now that BMW, that M3, we might have to scrap for that one. But the rest, you have to be passionate in any collector market, I think. And then you have to determine on where do you want to take it to? Do you want to take it to a store? Do you want to just do local shows? Do you just want to do it for a passion? It's completely up to you. So I decided to take the plunge and quit my engineering job of 21 years. I was a molecular diffusion engineer, and I decided I wanted to change in life, and here we are. So this is a change, and I'm pretty happy with it. And it's tough. It's challenging. So anybody who's looking to open up a diecast store, it's immensely challenging, immensely stressful. The cars sell themselves. That's not it. It's the business aspect of it. Going from engineering to being a business, I'm learning every day. So making my mistakes, picking myself up, and so it's tough. So anybody who wants to get into it, like I said, be passionate about what you're going to do about everything. That's all I can say.
That's a really good point, Chuck. You do your homework. Mike's not waking up one morning and saying, I'm going to surround myself with cars. He did the work. He did the research. You can get yourself in trouble in this hobby really quickly, guys. There's so much good stuff out there. So you've got to be pragmatic and do it the right way.
Don't get high on your own supply.
Yeah, I don't. I'm very strict when I go to a convention. I try not to buy anything. I'm a stickler. I don't buy anything. I bought some stuff for customers. That stuff was prepaid. I try to not spend any money. I'm there to make money, and that's it. Because you could get crazy. Like the conventions have so much stuff. No, I bought Transformers. So I did buy something. That's my other passion.
You let me spend my money in Vegas, Mike. You let me spend my money at your booth. That's for sure.
I don't force it upon anybody, but that's correct.
right.
That's correct.
Yes, that's really, I think, the biggest rule is make sure you got enough money to pay the rent and keep the lights on, because we ran into people in Atlanta that had that problem, and it's
There's
like,
no way.
okay, you calm down.
I almost went broke. I'm not going to sit here and lie and deny that I struggled. And thankfully, I was able to, like, literally inside of 1 month, reorganize, pull myself together, and now we're out of that hole. But it was a scary time where I thought we were going to have to shut down and I'm going to have to go back to work. So it's not for the faint of heart. You're going to drop a lot of money. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Don't think it's $10. It's not. Hundreds of thousands.
There was a guy I talked to in Atlanta that his budget for that day was $20,000 to buy stuff. Yep. And I was like, okay, we're talking a completely different game.
Yes, I spend about $20,000 a month in buying product.
Where can people find this wonderful shop, and can they find you online? How do they find RDDC?
Yeah, yes, they can. I am in Chandler, Arizona, inside Chandler Fashion Center Mall. And I do have a website. It's www.rddcmarket.com. I'm also on IG, RDDC_official, YouTube, RDDC, whatnot, RDDC_market. I know it's a little bit of discombobulation there, but type in RDDC, you'll see the logo. The black and white logo always pops up everywhere. What's good? So.
All right. Very cool. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to planning my next stop in your shop next time I'm in the Arizona area. I know I need to go visit Derek at some point. I haven't been out to Phoenix area in a while, but I think I'm due for a trip back, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing your shop.
Man, you swing by and pick me up.
How far is the drive from Vegas?
Oh, from the store here, it's about 5 hours.
5 hours?
Not too bad.
Okay. Yeah, Derek's saying 5. Okay.
That's doable. So, absolutely doable.
Maybe we'll plan a field trip for SuperCon or something. I don't know. All right. Well, Mike, again, we really enjoyed having you. And thank you, listeners, for making it to the end of another episode of Diecast Breakdown. Again, a big shout out to our patrons who make the show go, the people who like the show, subscribe, share, especially the people that share, and the people that click around and watch our other videos. That is a really good way to tell YouTube that you like what we do, is watching other videos we do. We have reviews from David. We have builds from me. There's community posts now from Pia, aka Mad Visions. You're going to see all sorts of really cool guests popping up, not just Derek, but other really cool people that are offering to contribute stuff to the channel. It's really exciting. If you want to become a contributor, email us at diecastbreakdown@gmail.com and say, hey, I'd like to make a video sometime, or I'd like to share some of my talents with the diecast community. We're looking for people to do that as well. So check that out. And again, check out drivendreams.org. That's the charity that our co-host Mark is doing, that we're raising 24,000 cars for kids in need in 2024. We're already off to a great start. We had a lot of really awesome people donate during the Hot Wheels convention, and you can visit that site and see how you can donate. You don't even have to give money directly to them. You can just collect cars in your area and give them to local charities, and then send in that documentation to show that you did it, and it goes towards that total. It's really cool. It's really easy. And as always, we want to thank you for coming along with us for the ride. So until next time, stay fresh, cheese bags.
Thanks for listening to Diecast Breakdown. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend to listen in. Find Diecast Breakdown on your favorite social media platforms, or visit diecastmedianetwork.com to learn more about this and our other projects. Diecast Breakdown is a presentation of Flying Valiant and the Diecast Media Network.